Only the central stones, known locally as Zilla's balls, maintain their pale blue glow through the Zilla's balls. Oh. Took me a second. Oh, chapter 4. I'm actually getting kind of hoarse, voice-wise. So I may... Oh. So now we have two... I'll go until 4. Another 15 minutes. So now we have 2 cases. What the hell were you thinking? Whoops. Find a lump of rock that might not even exist and track down someone without even a name or appearance to go off. This is why I don't let you go out to bars anymore. You always come back with the worst cases. Kind of impressive since I don't even drink, right? Don't blame me. For some reason, Kaiju keep telling me their problems, expecting me to solve them. You think I was a private detective or something? What happened this week, Carrie? Everything was so quiet. How did we end up in a mystery novel? Bit of very subtle fourth wall breaking. Karmic build-up. Maybe the universe just decided to start throwing rocks. At least one of the rocks is worth a great big pile of cash. Speaking of cash, why didn't you ask for payment on Rax's case? He's good for it. You look at Alex over your tea. You and I have been in similar situations. I remember how shit things got when you came out and I didn't fare much better. I couldn't stick a price tag on this kid getting a little happiness back after all he's been through. He looks down into his mug. It bubbles back at him. I heard a noise. Fair. It's not like we need the money right now. Right, we can afford to do a little pro bono for a barkeep in need. The pair of you drink in silence for a while. So what the heck do we do? We haven't got any leads on either case. Pulling the pendant from your coat, you hand it over. Alex puts down his mug and examines it closely. This is the only lead Rax has. You nod. No clue what it could mean. Probably just some family thing. Alex holds a stone closer to each eye in turn. I've seen this somewhere. This pattern here. He holds out the stone and indicates to a pattern of swirls that on close examination look like eyes curled in on themselves. Oh yeah. Seriously? Can you remember where? Pausing to look at it again, he shakes his head. No, it was only brief. Only for a moment. Try to remember. I don't care if it was graffiti on the side of a building or something you saw in a movie. Anything will help right now. And the other case? We wait for a message from Law. If I can't meet the bankroller, we don't know what all the actors in this little play. I don't like being left out in the cold in the middle of a case, even if I'm bundled up in cash. And what if he doesn't call? Then we go door to door asking if anyone has a giant ruby in their basement. If you had a giant ruby in your basement, would you own up if someone came looking? I didn't say it was a good plan, but it's better than sitting on my tail waiting for the idol to knock on the front door. The front door shakes under a tremendous knocking. Quick, say something about us getting $1 million. It's not like someone is knocking at the door waiting to give us $1 million. The thumping repeats, louder. Alex opens the door and Detective Inspector Caribaras walks in. Whoops. It's a cop. He doesn't look happy, nor does she carry anything resembling either a statue or a large amount of money. Well, damn. Oh, heck. Jeez. Very, very scaly. I recognize those kind of scales. Detective Inspector Caribaras, pleasure to see you again. Can we get you a tea? She fixes you with a practiced scowl you've come to know and love. I see you're still pretending to smoke those human cigarettes, Carrie. You aren't fooling anyone, you know. I think it makes me look dashing. And to what do we owe the pleasure of your company? This isn't a social call. Is it ever? That time in the red light district? Oh. I was investigating for a divorce hearing. You served me with a cease and desist notice. And that wasn't fun and social. I had to go to the courthouse to get it lifted. That was not fun. Yeah, cops would be that way. Alex stands in the corner, grinning widely. So what's the buzz? Come to grill me for walking on the wrong side of the footpath? Do you know someone called Laura Thrack? You get a sinking feeling in the pits of your stomachs. Can you describe them? Short, spiky, reeks of industrial waste. Might know them, why? Because he was found dead an hour ago. Oh, crap. The boys just dragged him out of the lake. Shit. And you've come to interrogate me about it because he was holding an envelope with your name on it. Some of us in the force consider that sort of thing to be a little suspicious. I mean, yeah, you might be a cop, but you're not necessarily wrong about that. cops think everything is suspicious. If you saw someone who wasn't a cop eating a donut, you start questioning about where they got it. Whoop. May I have the note? It's evidence. Are you going to tell me what case you're working on? Which one? I'm on a couple right now, which is true. The one involving the stiff on its way to the morgue. Professional confidentiality, I'm afraid. I saw Law at the last gulp yesterday and he was fine as far as I could tell, on his way to getting drunk, or drunker, but very much alive. Anyone able to corroborate that? Rax down at the gulp. He and I were talking about a separate case, missing Kaiju. Why didn't he come down to the station if it's just a missing Kaiju? It's a sensitive kind of missing Kaiju case. I'd rather not draw you a picture, detective. The pair of you stare at each other for a long minute in silence, and my arm goes right through me again. This is distracting. Calazora breaks first and hands you a still damp envelope, the seal already torn. Don't you know it's illegal to tamper with the post? We don't have a postal system, Carrie, and this is evidence. Paper inside the envelope is mostly dry. Of course they don't have a postal system because that's socialist. Inside the envelope is mostly dry. On it you can read a scrawled address in an upmarket district and a time later tonight. Gonna tell me about that? It's cryptic even for you. You hand the letter to Alex. A contact on another case, nothing special. Nothing special? Someone we just had to fish out of the wharf has a letter addressed to you, clutched in their fists, and it wasn't anything special. One of those weird coincidences, what can I tell you? Any clues? Have any clues on what happened to Law? Anything else at the scene? Calazora leans against the wall. She looks tired. Nothing concrete. You've been dragged a short distance to the lake, lots of scuffed claw prints, whoops, and a recognisable wound shape. We'd know the talon if we saw it again. Honestly, we were hoping you'd know something. Anything. None, I'm afraid. He was found in the lake with his throat slashed, still had cash on him and no one had touched his jewellery. Fuck, what a way to go. I've seen worse. Usually murders have more of a point though. This wasn't a mugging and it was too sloppy to be a professional hit. Anyway, if you can't help me... She leaves the sentence hanging and glares intently at you. Then I need to get back to the office and write up my report. Unexplained Kaiju side isn't exactly rare, but it still doesn't look good for the department. We should go get that drink together one of these days, Carla. I'd like that, Carrie. Maybe when we both learn to relax enough to leave our work behind. That could take a while. Stranger things have happened. That time we were working on the double kidnapping case that was just a cover for the mayor's children running away, for example. Don't remind me, I still get nightmares about that mess. They never did find all the bits. Got the kids back safe, though. Just don't do anything foolish, Carrie. Alex, please stop them from getting themselves killed. At least she genders properly. Can't promise anything. You know who they can be. Look after yourself, Detective Inspector. She walks out, slamming the door behind her in a way that is uniquely Carla. Your cup neatly rattles off the desk. Can't believe you two used to date. Oh! That was a long time ago before she became a cop. Yeah, that would be a deal breaker. I'm not going to say that was my worst breakup, but it was definitely the loudest. Do you regret it? What we had? Not at all. It was my first ace relationship and it was what I needed in my life at the time. All kinds of representation in here. I love it. Then she signed up to be a thug for the city and that sort of that sort of thing kills the romantic mood. Yep. You're a weird monster. We love weird monsters. We should all be weird monsters. What is this normal crap? True, but I'm a weird monster with a lead. And a dead contact. Oh, and your key suspect in the murder of that contact. In the murder of that contact. No doubt. Carla is polite, but she's not clueless. I have to keep an eye out for the tails when I head out. Look, I'm not happy Law's dead. He was an arsehole, but that doesn't mean he deserves to end up in the lake. Who do you think killed him? Whoever doesn't want us to find that rock. And what do we do about it? Simple. We find the rock that they don't want us to find. How are you planning on doing that if it's so simple? By following the money, my dear Alex. We follow the money. And not getting killed in the process of following it, I hope. That's the idea. Damn, sorry. Keeping my paws crossed that I don't end up going for a swim myself. What about Rax's case, the missing sister? What about it? We can't just show off that pendant to every kaiju in the city hoping to get a response. Either Rax gives us more to work with, or you remember where you've seen that design. Or we randomly bump into someone on the street holding a looking for my brother sign. None of those sound hopeful. I'll make a sketch of the design, maybe it'll help me remember. Then you can take it back. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate the help. And I appreciate new office furniture. Speaking of which, my new chair is getting delivered tomorrow. Can't wait to see it. I bet it'll be glorious. Just something more appropriate for me to park my scales. You deserve it. He waves you away. You best get moving. The note says you need to be over on the other side of the city in an hour. Stay safe out there, Carrie. I mean it. Whoever knocked off Law means business. I keep my eyes open and stay away from bodies of water. You just make sure the lights stay on. I'll do my best. You always do. Oh, there's more. It's late evening in the Undercity, and the crystals that illuminate the city, charged by the thermal radiation of the outside world, are already beginning to dim. Only the central stones, known locally as Zilla's balls, maintain their pale blue glow through the Zilla's balls. Oh. Took me a second. I thought, oh, balls. Okay. And then Zilla. Oh. Alright. Guess we know that Godzilla's balls glow. Cool. Maintain their pale blue glow throughout the night, lengthening shadows and casting most of the city into gloom. The central hub of the city, where most of the affluent kaiju build their mansions of stone, get the best of the light. Ah, oh, goodness me. What is going on with this? Cannot deal with that. Let's turn off track leap motion. I don't have to deal with that. There we go. I'm back in. Compared to the dingy district where you set up your office, it was almost like walking under the sun itself. Or so you imagine. Even the light we get is secondhand. Hard to imagine living somewhere that's not always in shadow. The note from Law directs you to the front gate of a practically discreet house on one of the gaudiest streets you'd ever seen. While other houses flaunted wealth, mimicking ostentatious human styles scaled up to kaiju sizes, this one is a simple box of stone. Still big though. Upscaled living for a kaiju who keeps a tight claw on their money. You pull the heavy chain beside the gate. Minutes pass until a voice, croaky and uncaring, echoes through a speaking tube. No soliciting, proselytizing, or political campaigning. Whatever it is you're selling, I don't want any. You lean in close to the tube and clear your throat. I'm not selling anything. I was told to come here by the late Laura Thrack about a business matter. The response takes another minute to return. The late Laura Thrack. You didn't hear? There was an unfortunate incident, and regrettably Laura is no longer with us. Another long pause. You'd best come in. The gate buzzes and opens with a heavy click. You straighten your hat, put on your most deadpan expression, and head through the gate towards the Stark mansion. Tony Stark? The door is opened by an older kaiju in a smart bow tie and a grim expression. Oh, look at them. They're good. Look at this reptilian loveliness. And so many tails. I guess there's some kind of hydra. Wow, on this face. Beautiful, beautiful. Big old jaw too. That would dislocate to swallow something massive. You would be the detective Law spoke of, correct? That's what it would say on my business card if I had any left to offer you. They narrow their eyes, clearly not impressed. Yes, I'm the detective. Caribaras is my full name. And my name is Xandron. You may call me Xander. Look at that. So cool. I think that might be my favorite. Is that your real name? No, but it'll do for the time being. You're quick off the mark with your questions, detective. If I don't keep asking questions, I'm afraid I might explode with curiosity. A dangerous habit in this city. Only if you have something to hide. It's only dangerous if you have something to hide. My doggy. Hello, Terror. We all have something to hide, detective. Even you, I don't doubt. What you doing? I only hide other kaiju's secrets. It's easier that way. Are you good at keeping secrets? Good as the next monster. Xander leads you into a drawing room, old furniture and low lighting. This is a big place, you don't have any help. Gesturing for you to sit down, Xander lowers themselves onto a chair, tentacles wrapping into time-worn grooves in the stone. Oh, good help is hard to find, Detective. Besides, I don't need much to keep this little home of mine ticking along. Little? The room is bigger than my whole office. I get lost trying to find the bathroom. But I didn't come here to compare domestic arrangements. No, of course. Poor Law, Rester's hide, said you wished to discuss a delicate matter. I must say you don't seem particularly shaken by his loss. After your first few centuries, you start to learn how fragile life is, and none of us last forever. I will miss him, though. Would you at least do me the courtesy of telling me how he met his end? I only learned about it an hour ago. He was found in the lake with a slit throat. It was not so delicately put, Detective. You didn't ask for delicate, Xander. No, I didn't, did I? Law was my friend for the last 100 years or so. I wish he could have met a nicer end. No one deserves to go out like that. May we meet kinder fates. The police don't have any leads, no surprises there. Do you have any idea who could have done it? Someone with a grudge? Old ones know he made enough enemies in life. Coincidence you should mention the old ones. You know, of course, why he arranged this meeting. The stone, yes. An object of immense value and importance, steeped in mystery, stained with the deaths of many. And something you would quite like to get your tentacles on. Oh, indeed, Detective, you have no idea how much I covet that idol. The monetary value alone makes it an object of true desire. The intrigue it's cloaked in only makes me want it more. And it was Law's job to get it for you. Xander lets out a ragged laugh. Not quite. Law was far from the diplomatic sort and wouldn't have been able to obtain it himself. He was a surprisingly good tracker, though, once he had this scent. I'd given him the job of locating the idol and acquiring the services to get it into the city, which is where my case aligns with your quest. Then what happened? I wish I knew, Detective. I provided a significant sum of money to fund him. The next thing he tells me, the artifact is gone, along with a hired importer. If it weren't for the fact that I've spent most of my considerable life trying to obtain the statue, I would have written it off as a loss. Maybe I'm just a victim of sunk cost fallacy, but I can't bear the thought of giving up the chase this late in the game. So I'm guessing you'd be quite interested in getting your tentacles on the rock. More than you could possibly imagine, Detective. There are few things in life I desire as much as the idol. And it's lucky for you that I'm on the case to find it. You were the professional that Law hired for the job. I'm afraid it's rather more complicated than that. You fill Xander in on the case so far, leaving out the drugging in the hotel and the missing Maxora. So you would be what exactly, a subcontractor here to clean up the mess? Something like that. You want the rock, I want to get paid, and Maxora wants to clear her name. And Law died not long after you took on the case. That does look highly suspicious. Unfortunately, it doesn't look good for me, especially when the police turn up on my doorstep with a blood-stained envelope with my name on it. Which is why it doesn't feel like this was just some random kaiju side. In this job, you learn not to trust coincidences. You may have a point, Detective. Do you want to know what history has to say about the idol? I have a feeling you're going to tell me whether I say yes or no. Alixorus said it was something about whomever has the rock gets to rule, something like that. In effect, although the history is mostly oral and pictograms, enough of it has survived to tell the story. And in the final days of our kind, a stone of blood shall hold the key to our survival. Guard it well, and the power shall lead us into the future. And do you believe all that, Xander? A magic stone of power waiting for someone to grab it? What I believe is immaterial, child. I devoted a significant portion of my life to acquiring it. That is all you need to know. In this world, if you have fought for something this long, you don't simply stop wanting it because it's a challenge. You want it more. So the question is, who else knows? Maxora says the only kaiju she was told was her contact who was delivering the idol, and they mysteriously died too. Law assured me that he only went through Maxora, and how he met her I don't know. But that's another dead end, no pun intended. That was poor taste, Detective. It means that one of you three spilled their guts. If you're making these morbid puns intentionally, they are not appreciated. Sorry. So someone knew about the trade-off when the idol was to cross the gates, and they knew that Law was the go-between for the three of you. Who else knows? One of you isn't telling me the whole story, and now I've one less kaiju to interrogate. What makes you so sure it's not this Maxora giving you the runaround? Because she's scared shitless right now, pardon my language. She thought Law was coming after her when the deal went south, and I don't blame her. So tell me, Xander, who else knows? Who wants the Crimson Old One and is prepared to kill for it? I don't like seeing folks end up in the lake, even if they have been impolite to me. The room is silent except for the crackling fire in the hearth. This isn't the first time I've gone after the idol. You've been after it for a long time, you said. Correct. And in that time I've dealt with some rather unscrupulous creatures, ones who I thought I'd parted ways with many years ago. Ones who might have wanted the statue as much as you. Detective, let me be direct. No one wants that statue more than I. But yes, there are those who covet the prize also, be it out of greed or spite. Did they know Law was involved? Probable. Law was my friend. That was known to a few kaiju, maybe my only friend. He was around for several of my attempts to retrieve the idol. You tap your claws on the arm of the chair. Who's left, Xander? Out of all the bastards you've worked with before, which of them is still alive and who would kill for some magic rock? Who wants it bad enough? A hunched figure sits nearly motionless in their chair, staring into the fireplace. Eventually they look up, their face contorted in frustration. Onikogo. Who? Onikogo, an old associate of mine. They were with me when I first went after the idol, back when I didn't have two rocks to rub together. She and I never quite saw eye to eye about the methods that were acceptable to get hold of the old one. As such, our relationship soured somewhat. You mean she would have killed to get it? At the very least, Detective. Onikogo comes from a position of some great privilege, as such she doesn't put much of a value on those she sees as inferior. Unlike you, I mean, look at this place. You gesture around at the huge house and lavish furnishings. My current financial situation is not a point of debate here, Detective. Xander's voice drops into the drawl of the street, although from several centuries past. But I'll have you know I clawed myself up from the gutter to make it here. And while you're a guest in this house, you'd best not make assumptions. I'm running out of steam. Straightening up, Xander returns to their calm demeanour. My apologies. I let my tongue get the better of me sometimes. So this Onikogo, are they still around? Oh, undoubtedly. Money has a habit of keeping rotten fruit on the vine. Yes, it does. It sucks. You know where I can find her? I might have to go pay her the little social call. I wouldn't advise that, Detective. Why is that? Don't think I'd fit into high society? Honestly, no. Also, I don't think it would be good for your health. You think Onikogo would kill me for asking where the rock is? Of course not. Onikogo isn't the type to get her hands dirty. Okay, then I think she would have someone else kill you. Quickly and quietly, in a way much like our departed colleague Law. That kind of character. Most definitely. Onikogo won't have touched anyone to do with this endeavour, but she has her claws curled tightly around many of the city's strings. If you decide to pursue the fool's errands, I won't stop you. I want that idol, and Onikogo most likely has it secreted in her hoard. But if she does have it, then you're highly unlikely to get your paws on it without great personal risk. I've got a job to do. I'm on this case, Xander. I can't just abandon it because it's dangerous. If I quit now, I'd not only be letting Maxora and yourself down, but myself too. You would put yourself in harm's way on principle. Wouldn't be the first time. Hopefully it won't be the last. Xander stands and you follow suit. They extend a tentacle and you shake it. Then you're a braver monster than I. Whether you choose to go after the idol or not, please tell Maxora that she is in no danger from me. I consider the debt moot considering the circumstances. They reach down into a small box by the chair, flip through the cards inside and pull out a rather old and ornately decorated card. Onikogo's address. If they are within the city limits, this is where she will be, along with my personal seal. You take the card and slip it into your pocket. Gold leaf flakes off it under your claws. Thank you for your time, Xander. I appreciate you meeting me under these conditions, and I am sorry about what happened to your friend. If If you hear from me again, I'll be returning for my cut of the sale. And if I don't hear from you, then throw a flower into the lake for me, because that's probably where I'll be sleeping. Morbid. You'd make a good writer. If I ever write my memoirs, I'll make sure to include you. Hey! I'm gonna save. Whee! Right, I'm gonna leave it there because my throat is getting a little bit sore. I'm getting kind of tired, but I like it so far. Whee! What are these? 1, 2, 3. Oh wow, there's lots. Okay, quick saves. Oh, there are automatic saves. Oh, every question. That's cool. All right. Right, so I will come back to this some other time. I haven't really got... No, I've got some crafting stuff to do, so I will do that, and I will probably give it a little bit of a break before coming back to this, just so I can play it when there's a little bit more visibility for it, because I really like it, and I want other people to see it, and give as much prominence to this as possible. But I shall return. I shall probably be streaming again tomorrow afternoon. I gotta try and fix my PC and make it not completely destroy my VC face avatar when I'm streaming. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for the emojis and the subs and things like that. I will catch you soon. Bye all.